Will.
You're the audience.
Welcome.
Welcome to Perpetually Disheveled Week.
Yeah.
I'm your host. I'll be here all week long, looking exactly like this.
Same here.
He actually combed. He did. Okay, so he's in a mood today. He's in a mood.
So we have a topic?
We have a topic
We have a
today.
topic.
Yeah, so after our podcast last week, somebody had suggested that we discuss the Stauffers. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Also, don't...
The a-holes.
Yeah, don't entirely care, but I kind of care a little bit. Anyways, who recently rehomed their autistic son. So we're going to discuss that a little bit. And I'm going to start with saying I don't like that phrase. I don't like using the phrase rehomed for children like they're a Yorkie that's not getting along with your 15-year-old cat. Yeah, I don't like it.
Well, I don't like that what they did.
I don't either, but I'll admit I'm conflicted. And I'm conflicted for a couple of reasons. Ultimately, I think it was bullshit.
Whoa.
Yeah, but I think that's because...
Potty mouth.
I think they adopted him for clout.
Clout?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they adopted a kid to exploit him.
Can you tell everybody about who the Stauffers are and
The
what
Stauffers
they
are
did?
YouTubers. They're a family YouTube channel, blogging about their family life. They've got several monetary endorsements from various companies, or they did.
Well, they still do.
Well, a lot of companies have dropped their partnerships. And they were recently in the news for announcing on their channel that they had given up their adopted son, Huxley, to another family.
Why?
Because according to Micah, they were not able to take care of Huxley's unique needs. Now, before I
What's
go...
wrong with Huxley?
Huxley is autistic?
Autistic. They gave up their autistic. They rehomed
Yes. Mm-hmm.
an autistic child.
Yes. Now...
Can you do that?
You can, apparently. Before I go much farther into this, I do want to say I'm not upset that they did that.
Okay.
If somebody finds themselves genuinely unable to care for an autistic child, which can happen, especially for autistic children that are very high need, and some of them need specialized care, and you're just not able to provide that at home, I would much rather see parents get their child the help and care that they need than keep them at home and potentially cause them harm. The reason I think these people are shit isn't because they rehomed their child. It was because, from what I've seen, his adoption was for clout. They did it to get views. Oh, look at us and our autistic son. And that's what I think is shit. That they brought him into their home and then discarded him when he was no longer useful.
Wow.
And I think that's, well, that's not something that good people do.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's wrong on so many different levels.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. So, is there like a place where you can go and just,
Just adopt an autistic child.
Yeah.
Actually, there are agencies that you can go to that specialize in children with special needs. Although, from my understanding, and I didn't delve too far into their adoption with Huxley, but it's my understanding that is not what happened in their case. It may have been. Like I said, I didn't go too far into their adoption of him. What struck me about this, what we're going to talk about...
What is, before you go farther, what is clout?
Clout is social recognition.
Oh.
Yeah. Look at me, I X. And then everyone's like, oh, you X.
Oh, look at me.
Yeah.
Did it work?
It worked, yeah. Yeah, adopting Huxley did work for them.
So, should I adopt a special needs child?
We have a special needs child. And
I
we
know,
do not
he's so
film
cute.
him.
He's so cute.
God, he's adorable.
Super adorable. He tried to kill me this morning, though.
He was just pouncing on you.
I had too much air in my lungs, and he was helping me remove that.
You know, he needed to jump on you, Dad.
Right? It's like, Daddy, you have too much air in your lungs. Hello. But all right, let's go back to the Huxleys and their clout chasing.
Yeah. So, I will say that I think that there's probably certain groups of people that maybe should be given additional scrutiny. Family bloggers, I think, are on that list. If you make money selling your family and the image of your family, I would think that somebody who makes money like that should be given additional scrutiny by adoption agencies. They should take a closer look at you. Are you doing this because you actually want to bring another child into your home and share your home and your love and your life with them? Or are you doing this because you need more viewers?
How long did they have Huxley?
Not long.
But they adopted him.
They did.
It wasn't like a temporary situation.
Nope, they adopted him.
Huh. They have other children?
They have 3 other children, I believe.
Did they give them up too?
No, those are biological children.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe you can give a biological children too.
You can. Which, as much as it pains me when people give their children up, and in instances like this where I have to wonder, like, he just wasn't any use to you anymore. I don't think as a society that we should scrutinize too much when people give their children up, because ultimately like I said earlier, I would rather a child be safe and be with someone that can give them what they need than a child stay with a parent who is unable to care for them. And there's lots of really legitimate reasons why a parent can't take care of a child. Some parents just don't have the resources and their child requires a lot of care. For some children, they require 24-hour care, and that might work for a family that doesn't have any other children. But if you've got 2 or 3 other children, you don't have the resources to dedicate all of your time to just one child because you have 2 other children that also need you. It can't be an easy decision for any family to make. Do we give our child to a facility or to another home or something like that so that we can give our other children the attention and the time and the care that they deserve?
Is that what they did with Huxley?
I don't believe so. I don't know for sure. It very well could have been, but the circumstances lead me to believe that it's not.
That's just sad.
Mm-hmm. And then one of the reasons why I was conflicted when I heard about this was because we all know that woman who, was it 2 weeks ago, was found to have murdered her autistic son.
Lori Vallow?
Not her, oddly enough.
Oh my God, that happened to another person.
Another autistic son.
Oh, Jesus.
I thought you'd covered it on your channel, but maybe not.
Oh, wow.
Oddly enough, I don't follow his channel.
Actually, nobody does.
No one, not even one person.
Not even one.
Not even one person.
I mean, just 36,000 other people.
There was a gal.
But nobody.
I want to say it was 2 weeks ago, but maybe it was longer than that. And there was a search out looking for her son. She had contacted police and said that she had been carjacked by 2 black men, which...
Wait a minute. What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the minute she said that, pretty much every person that I know
My
was
radar's
like,
going off right now.
yeah, she killed him. She killed her kid. But the police were looking for her son. They found him in I think it was a golf course pool or near a golf course. I don't remember the exact details, but yeah, it turns out she killed her son, pretty much like everybody knew.
Sad.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And that happened recently, and someone had suggested that was going around in the autism boards. People were talking about that. And when the Stauffers, whatever the hell their names are, came up, I was thinking, you know what the fuck, at least they gave him somebody else and didn't throw him in a river.
There is that, yeah.
I might think they're pieces of crap, but at least this guy is still alive and he gets a chance to live his life.
So I'm looking at your notes here. What is this? It says Huxley wanted this decision.
That was
The child.
That was Micah's defense. Was that Huxley wanted this decision?
A child.
Yeah, a 5-year-old child who, my son wants to eat clay on occasion. That's why we don't let kids make most of their own decisions.
And the other thing is he wants to eat cookies.
Yeah, I will
cookies and clay.
I will let our son decide what pants he gets to wear for the day, which is usually his option is no pants. He's team no pants.
Yeah.
I let him make his clothing decisions. I don't.
Mini mummy.
I don't let him make his permanent life choices at 5.
Well, what reasonable adult lets a 5-year-old decide a permanent decision for their life?
Not one.
Except for them.
Except for them.
Yeah. Great idea there.
So there's little official information yet. There is a lawyer involved who said that everything was on the up and up for Huxley going to live with this other family. If it followed typical adoption, then they will have had home visits, been vetted the same as any other adoptive parents. If it followed that vein, I'm hoping it did. I'm hoping whoever vetted this family did a better job than they did with the Stauffers.
Wow. Is it Stauffer or Stauffer?
I think it might be Stauffer, but like I said, I'm not. I didn't care enough about this woman because I was already pissed at her when I heard about it to look up how to properly say her name. And I know that sounds weird because on the one hand I'm like, well, it's a good thing that she gave him up, and on the other hand I'm like, fuck her. So.
Allegations of abuse?
There have been allegations of abuse against Micah. One person alleged that in order to keep Huxley still for photos, and I think something else. I didn't delve too deep into it. Well, the allegation was that she duct taped his hands so that he couldn't move and fidget and flail.
To a child?
Mm-hmm. To a child. I mean, not that it makes it okay to do it to an adult, but at least an adult could throw a punch. Defend themselves.
Or it's a kink thing.
Or, yes, but,
we're not into that. All right. Next thing.
Okay, so one of the things that came to mind when I had first heard about this was, and I don't know how many people are familiar with this asshole, Justin Harris, Representative Justin Harris from Arkansas, who in 2013 adopted 2 girls in March and then 6 months later gave them to a pedophile.
What?
Mm-hmm. Harris, I followed his case when I first heard about it, and I think it came out 2 years later when the person who was abusing the children after that first piece of shit handed them over, information became available through Freedom of Information Act. This man abused his position as a politician on the board of child services to be fast-tracked for an adoption of 2 girls who had special needs. Was grossly unable to handle their needs, even tried to have exorcisms performed on them, locked them in their rooms, and these were girls who had been abused prior to coming into the system, so they already had profound issues. He never should have been allowed to adopt any child, let alone these children who needed specialized care. And he continued that cycle of abuse. And if you take a child who's been abused, and when they act out as children do because they have been traumatized, you then lock them in their bedroom and perform an exorcism on them, you are abusive. And I don't care what Representative Harris has to say, he's abusive. he was not able to handle them, and him and his wife gave them to somebody who worked at their preschool. I want to make that clear. This piece of crap worked for them in their preschool, growing God's kingdom. A year later, that person was arrested for sexually abusing the girls.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is part of why the whole idea of rehoming adopted children rankles every time I hear that phrase. Because I immediately think back to Representative Harris and how absolutely, completely, and totally he failed two children that he was supposed to protect. And like the other pieces of crap, Harris adopted them for clout.
Clout chaser too?
Mm-hmm.
From 2013.
Mm-hmm.
How long have people been chasing clout for?
People chase clout all the time.
I never heard of it until you mentioned it. I know that people like that existed.
Ooh, I had a lot of anger still built up about that. Still just like,
Feels like it. The air in here.
Been throwing around some unhealthy, spicy language.
You?
I know, right? Just.
I never would have guessed that.
Fuck it.
Whoa, another naughty word.
Who saw that coming?
Naughty, naughty, naughty.
Yeah. Did you want some coffee?
No, not being your fucker in charge of you fucking fucks.
Your daughter got this for me.
I know. It's a good thing we're not monetized in this channel.
Right?
we would have been demonetized a long time ago. Yeah, YouTube and their algorithms like, what the fucking folks?
I'm sorry, you are only allowed 3 F-bombs, and your cup has got those 3, so I bet you done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of anger. I have a whole lot of anger about this. But again, I try very hard to temper that with, like I said beforehand, I would much rather see a child given to a completely different home than I would see that child wind up dead.
So what is the process to adopt a child?
It varies, but typically you submit the application. The agency does background checks. They do home visits. They do interviews. Depending on the agency, depends on the best to phrase that. Not all agencies have to follow the same in-depth rules, but all agencies have to follow the same basic rules. And not all agencies have to adopt equally. Some agencies who still receive federal funding, which I think is bullshit, are allowed to deny adoptions to non-traditional families.
What is that?
Single parents, same-sex couples. Yeah. Which, ultimately, every child deserves a home. We're well past the time where we have these myths that children have to be with X caregiver 24 hours a day to grow into happy, healthy adults. We know at this point in time that what children need, they need to be someone's most important person. And that person doesn't have to be a biological relative. Just as long as they are, children need somebody who loves them, cares about them, and wants them to do their best.
Okay.
And I think every child deserves that. Keeping children in a system where they're not, that's just unprepared to handle their needs because of the sheer volume of children in it, is not what's best for them. And keeping them there because a particular family doesn't look like you want them to look isn't best for them either.
When it comes to somebody who's adopting a child, do they have to do background checks on them?
Yes.
Stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. They do have to do background checks.
So then how do these people get a child?
Well...
Or multiple children there in Justin Harris.
In Harris's point... According to Harris, the family that he gave his children to had passed a background check for an international adoption agency. I'm not well versed in international adoptions, other than depending on where you go, they are not as stringent.
Okay.
Some are more so, some are not. And Harris, at least in the information that I had, hadn't specified which, so it's hard to determine. And that's just what Harris said. Was he lying? I fucking think so, but maybe not. I don't believe a word that comes out of that man's mouth.
So the Stauffers, back to them. How did they adopt this child? Did they go through like a
They went through an
company
agency,
or state
yeah.
or?
I believe they went through an agency, is what their lawyer said.
Wow, I'm just shocked that anybody would do something like that.
Well, and the other thing is, you don't necessarily have to do agency adoptions. People do private adoptions too, where
What?
where the birth parents decide that for whatever reason they're unable to take care of their child, and they find a new home for their child. Sometimes pre-birth, sometimes
So
afterwards.
it's kind of like a surrogate.
Yeah, kind of. Although typically surrogacy is something that's arranged prior to pregnancy, and adoption is something that's arranged after. Because like with surrogacy, the person who's the surrogate isn't even necessarily carrying a child that's biologically theirs at all. Sometimes they're hosting somebody else's embryo. Sometimes it's their egg, somebody else's sperm,
Spermy.
Oh my God.
It happens, ladies and gentlemen.
Not on your shoulder, it doesn't.
Stop.
Stop. Enough of you. Enough of you right now.
Okay. You went way too far this time. Oh.
Okay, so
gosh.
I think we're about done.
I think we are too. I think the Stauffers are done too.
Yeah, they have lost viewership. They've lost endorsements. Yeah, they're done.
Well, guess it's best to know who what horse you in the race you're backing.
You're talking about the people who did the endorsement?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thought you were talking about them for I was like, what?
No.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and do our sign off, guys.
Bye.
Bye. I'm sorry about him. Like I said, he's just been in a mood all day. He's a spicy guy today.
Everybody gotta have fun. All right.